Hi, welcome to Ocean Yemi's channel. We react, we do reviews, we do other videos going on. Please subscribe and tap in and let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what's going on, what's bigger, what's going on in this time, and and if you do enjoy, please stick around and let's continue our conversation. Okay, take care. Bye. Hi, welcome to Ocean Yemi's channel. So today I'm going to actually cover a few things. I'm hoping that it's not going to be long today because I feel this is an interesting subject. Malia's taken on another persona, or they're giving her a new name. Whether they understand what these names mean is a whole different something else. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to explore a few things. You're going to hear me literally typing in the background, exploring why I show who Malia is, who is where their goddess is really, who are the deities that they are trying to link her to. I'm actually going to find the video where they're worshipping her because I feel that I need to do that one as well. So let me just have a minute and find it, because these are all, all good things to look at. The worshipping or something that they have no idea what they're doing or understanding what it is, what's it about, which is, like I said, carbonation has been known. Carbonation has been known to worship stuff without realizing the links to, or what it is to, or where it derives from. They think it sounds good. They look it up once. They think, okay, it sounds good. I'm going to be named this. I'm going to be named that. I hope he hasn't taken it down, because there was a worshipping moment going on here with the feathers and stuff. Let's see if I can find it. I don't even know if it's still there. I see taking it down. Oh, did she take it down? Oh, she took it down. It looks like she took it down. It's not there no more. Oh, she must have taken it down. Okay. All right. Well, I have the thumbnail, and you can see that she's wearing a headdress. So there's Native American there, and also there's panthers, which I know that's linked to either the Mayans, the Aztecs, as well. Now, the Isis and Lucia, there's different types. There's Saint Lucia, and there's also a nun that's called Saint Lucy as well. And I think they're all to do with martyrs, some kind of martyrs, because a little bit I read was to do martyrs. So I don't know which way to start. So wherever I start, I'm going to start from there, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with Isis, which is the name that they gave her, one of the names that they gave her. I'm not going to start with the Lucia yet, because I have so many tabs open now. So I have to go find which one to tap on. Oops, which one is it? I've got some tabs open. I just want to make it simple so you can understand exactly who they are, who they're saying she's representing, which is none of these. She don't represent any of these type of goddesses in ways, forms, or however. Let's see. Hold on. Just got to find where I'm at because I've got so much tabs open. Okay, do you know what? We're going to start from the absolute. I've got to see which one I want to go to. That will more make sense to you guys. Especially the ones who's not into all Egyptology, remnants of it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So what I'm going to do, so I'm taking long in it. Because they have a lot of stuff going on. When you think it's something else. Okay, I think I'm going to have to go here. But we don't want all the history of her.
Isis. This article is about the ancient Egyptian goddess. For the modern terrorist group commonly abbreviated as ISIS, see Islamic State. For other uses, see ISIS, disambiguation. Isis was a major goddess in ancient Egyptian religion whose worship spread throughout the Greco-Roman world. Isis was first mentioned in the Old Kingdom, c. 2686, c. 2181 BCE, as one of the main characters of the Osiris myth, in which she resurrects her slain brother and husband, the divine king Osiris, and produces and protects his heir, Horus. She was believed to help the dead enter the afterlife as she had helped Osiris, and she was considered the divine mother of the pharaoh, who was likened to Horus. Her maternal aid was invoked in healing spells to benefit ordinary people. Originally, she played a limited role in royal rituals and temple rites, although she was more prominent in funerary practices and magical texts. She was usually portrayed in art as a human woman wearing a throne-like hieroglyph on her head. During the New Kingdom, c. 1550, c. 1070 BCE, as she took on traits that originally belonged to Hathor, the preeminent goddess of earlier times, Isis was portrayed wearing Hathor's headdress, a sun disk between the horns of a cow. In the first millennium BCE, Osiris and Isis became the most widely worshipped Egyptian deities, and Isis absorbed traits from many other goddesses. Rulers in Egypt and its southern neighbor Nubia built temples dedicated primarily to Isis, and her temple at Philae was a religious center for Egyptians and Nubians alike. Her reputed magical power was greater than that of all other gods, and she was said to govern the natural world and wield power over fate itself. In the Hellenistic period, 323 to 30 BCE, when Egypt was ruled and settled by Greeks, Isis was worshipped by Greeks and Egyptians, along with a new god, Serapis. Their worship the Futuranian world. Isis's Greek devotees ascribed to her traits taken from Greek deities, such as the invention of marriage and the protection of ships at sea. As Hellenistic culture was absorbed by Rome in the 1st century BCE, the cult of Isis became a part of Roman religion. Her devotees were a small proportion of the Roman Empire's population but were found all across its territory. Her following developed distinctive festivals such as the Navagium Isides, as well as initiation ceremonies resembling those of other Greco-Roman mystery cults. Some of her devotees said she encompassed all feminine divine powers in the world. The worship of Isis was ended by the rise of Christianity in the 4th through 6th centuries CE. Her worship may have influenced Christian beliefs and practices such as the veneration of Mary, but the evidence for this influence is ambiguous and often controversial. Isis continues to appear in Western culture, particularly in esotericism and modern paganism, often as a personification of nature or the feminine aspect of divinity. In Egypt and Nubia. Name and origins. Whereas some Egyptian deities appeared in the late pre-dynastic period, before c. 3100 BCE, neither Isis nor her husband Osiris were mentioned by name before the 5th dynasty, c. 2494 to 2345 BCE. An inscription that may refer to Isis dates to the reign of Ni-User-Ini during that period, and she appears prominently in the pyramid texts, which began to be written down at the end of the dynasty and whose content may have developed much earlier. Several passages in the pyramid texts link Isis with the region of the Nile Delta near Bibite El Hagar and Sebenitos, and her cult may have originated there.
Oh yeah, I did
Many
see the
scholars
cult.
have focused on Isis's name in trying to determine her origins. Her Egyptian name was written as St, the pronunciation of which changed over time, Ruzat Arsa Sa S, which became Sa, in the Coptic form of Egyptian, Wusa in the Meroitic language of Nubia, and Sigma Iota, on which her modern name is based, in Greek. The hieroglyphic writing of her name incorporates the sign for a throne, which Isis also wears on her head as a sign of her identity. The symbol serves as a phonogram, spelling the ST sounds in her name, but it may have also represented a link with actual thrones. The Egyptian term for a throne was also St and may have shared a common etymology with Isis's name. Therefore, the Egyptologist Kurt Sethe suggested she was originally a personification of thrones. Henry Frankfurt agreed, believing that the throne was considered the king's mother, and thus a goddess, because of its power to make a man into a king. Other scholars, such as Jürgen Ossing and Klaus P. Coleman, have disputed this interpretation, because of dissimilarities between Isis's name and the word for a throne or a lack of evidence that the throne was ever deified. Roles. The cycle of myth surrounding Osiris's death and resurrection was first recorded in the pyramid texts and grew into the most elaborate and influential of all Egyptian myths. Isis plays a more active role in this myth than the other protagonists, so as it developed in literature from the New Kingdom, c. 1550 to 1070 BCE, to the Ptolemaic period, 305 to 30 BCE, she became the most complex literary character of all Egyptian deities. At the same time, she absorbed characteristics from many other goddesses, broadening her significance well beyond the Osiris myth. Wife and mourner. Isis is part of the Ennead of Heliopolis, a family of 9 deities descended from the creator god, Atum, or Ra. She and her siblings Osiris, Set, and Nephthys are the last generation of the Ennead, born to Geb, god of the earth, and Nut, goddess of the sky. The creator god, the world's original ruler, passes down his authority through the male generations of the Ennead, so that Osiris becomes king. Isis, who is Osiris's wife as well as his sister, is his queen. Set
Incest.
kills Osiris and, in several versions of the story, dismembers his corpse. Isis and Nephthys, along with other deities such as Anubis, search for the pieces of their brother's body
Yeah,
and
putting back
reassemble
his
it.
body back together.
Their efforts are the mythic prototype for mummification and other ancient Egyptian funerary practices. According to some texts, they must also protect Osiris's body from further desecration by Set or his servants. Isis is the epitome of a mourning widow. Her and Nephthys' love and grief for their brother help restore him to life, as does Isis's recitation of magical spells. Funerary texts contain speeches by Isis in which she expresses her sorrow at Osiris's death, her sexual desire for him, and even anger that he has left her. All these emotions play a part in his revival, as they are meant to stir him into action. Finally, Isis restores breath and life to Osiris's body and copulates with him, conceiving their son, Horus. After this point Osiris lives on only in the Duat, or underworld. But by producing a son and heir to avenge his death and carry out funerary rites for him, Isis has ensured that her husband will endure in the afterlife. Isis's role in afterlife beliefs was based on that in the myth. She helped to restore the souls of deceased humans to wholeness as she had done for Osiris. Like other goddesses, such as Hathor, she also acted as a mother to the deceased, providing protection and nourishment. Thus, like Hathor, she sometimes took the form of Imentet, the goddess of the West, who welcomed the deceased soul into the afterlife as her child. But for much of Egyptian history, male deities such as Osiris were believed to provide the regenerative powers, including sexual potency, that were crucial for rebirth. Isis was thought to merely assist by stimulating this power. Feminine divine powers became more important in afterlife beliefs in the late New Kingdom. Various Ptolemaic funerary texts emphasize that Isis took the active role in Horus's conception by sexually stimulating her inert husband. Some tomb decoration from the Roman period in Egypt depicts Isis in a central role in the afterlife, and a funerary text from that era suggests that women were thought able to join the retinue of Isis and Nephthys in the afterlife. Mother Goddess Isis.
Now I know that's a lot to take in, okay? So this is why I'm gonna start off slowly. For the ones who don't know about these type of information, who's never looked into these information, Egyptology is very interesting to read if you're into it, because when you see people who's saying that how right they are A, B, and C, E, F, G, but then they don't know what is the deity, what is the lineage, what is the attributes, what is their this, what is their that, because all deities, all goddesses have their attributes, have their things, what is offered, all sorts of things. And especially if they are into the mysteries, which in the West Indies we call science, if they're into the mystery science of certain stuff, right, you will take on that persona. Now, if she's dealing with funeral stuff, etc., etc., Malia do not know the depths of having this name. She just feels, okay, I'm just called Isis and that's it. The depths of having this name. So you're dealing with the dead, you're dealing with the afterlife, you're dealing with all sorts of stuff. Not only that, right, there's a whole cult named that there's a whole pagan cult, which I'm going to reach now, that Isis is aligned with. There's a pagan cult. So let me see if I can get to the pagan cult.
Nursing Horus, a sculpture from the 7th century. The pagan community in Alexandria contains many different sections and subsections, far too many to discuss in any good detail, so we shall focus on the major pagan religion, and conflicts with the Christians, the cult of Isis. This religion, dating back to the 4th century BCE, was one of the most popular branches of worship in the pre-empire era of ancient Rome during the rule of Lucius Cornelius Sulla. It achieved its pinnacle in 83 BCE with the institution of a Holy Trinity and has since been on the decline, but is still popular in Alexandria. Now let's take a look at specifics. Isis was, in Egyptian mythology, goddess of fertility and motherhood.
Which
She was the
Leah's
daughter
none
of
of
the god
those.
Keb, earth, and his wife/sister the goddess Nud, sky. She was the sister wife of Osiris, judge of the dead, and mother of Horus, god of day. She is described in ancient writings as having great magical skill, and she was represented as human in form, though she was frequently described as wearing the horns of a cow, or as a winged woman. See the image above. Her symbols are the ankh, like a modified cross, which represented life, and the star sept, which showed the coming of a new year, as well as the flooding of the Nile for fertility. 5. Isis was believed to be powerful in the ways of magic, having the ability to create and destroy life with mere words. She not only knew the words which needed to be spoken to cause certain things to occur, but was also able to use exact pronunciation and emphasis in order for the desired effect to occur. It is believed that if the best effect was to be produced by words of power, they must be uttered in a certain tone of voice, and at a certain rate, and at a certain time of the day or night, with appropriate gestures or ceremonies. Only when these conditions have been met can true magic occur. The magic of Isis has appeared in many forms throughout Egyptian mythology. From her ability to bring her dead and disembodied husband Osiris back to life and create with him a son, to the learning of the sacred name of Ra, Isis has shown magical talent beyond the other gods. Perhaps the best way to explain Isis can be found in the invocation of Isis. Osiris and the magic of Isis returning him to life. During the first day, actors would impersonate Isis and her son Horus as well as various other gods as they searched across the world for the 14 body parts of Osiris. The second and third days showed the reassembly and rebirth of Osiris, and the fourth day was a wild rejoicing over the success of Isis and the coming of the newly immortal Osiris. The belief is that through worship of Isis and strong devotion, she will return you to life as well should you die, and you shall experience eternal happiness under her nurturing care, just as Osiris was rebuilt and shall rule forever. Back to Alexandria.
Okay, so that explains why she was saying, oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. In the previous video I did yesterday, she was saying that how Nature Boy will be coming back. Because Isis has been known to give life and death to people, which was said in the reading, right? So basically, she believes what she was doing was actually bringing life back to Nature Boy by saying he'll rise in 2025, or he'll come out by 2025 or whatever. So that's what she was trying to do. Now bear in mind, like, they have no idea of these deities and how deep these deities are, and they don't play. Deities, they don't play. I'm trying to find the one where they was worshipping her. I still can't even find it. I'm kind of upset I can't find it. Right? And because there is a lot in that video. I'm just hoping my day ain't took it down. Wow, I reckon my day has taken it down. Is that one? Is it this one? Hold up. Could be this one. Hold on. I'm trying to find and trying to look for it at the same time. To show you when people don't know what they're doing, what they're involving themselves in. When you're calling yourself certain things, you have to know what you're dealing with. I think it's this one. I don't know if I've got it in the wrong spot. I want to take it downstairs. This one. Oh, I can't find it. I wish I could find it. But anyways, we are going to continue. So, let me tell you the attributes of Isis. Hold on. Is her attributes gone? This is her attributes. Everything's going dilly now. But my screen's gone on that side. Oh no, it's okay. Okay, I have to reload it. Okay. I think that page. What page is it? Because they also called her the Mother Goddess, which is a big thing to be called, I believe, by any measure. But you know, she's deemed as a wise goddess. You know, like I said, she has a whole cult cult. And what else I want to say? It's the attributes as well, because Malia has none of these. The motherhood part. See, the goddess of motherhood, fertility, and the sister wife of Osiris. She was also a magician, a healer, and a protector of living and the dead. She's none of those. She never protected anybody. So the name don't even fit her at this point. The name doesn't fit. Oh yeah, I talked about the ministries. So this is just the overview of or information. There is actually the mysteries of Isis. Let me see if I can find. I don't want it to go off on a tangent. And there's initiations, all sorts that goes on. This is very deep. I think I did the deities, religious symbolism. Do I need to even go down that road? Well, we know they said that she's about the afterlife. So not only does she take life, she gives life as well. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm going to go to my next one.
Mysteries of Isis. The mysteries of Isis were religious initiation rites performed in the cult of the Egyptian goddess Isis in the Greco-Roman world. They were modeled on other mystery rites, particularly the Eleusinian mysteries in honor of the Greek goddesses Demeter and Persephone, and originated sometime between the 3rd century BCE and the 2nd century CE. Despite their mainly Hellenistic origins, the mysteries alluded to beliefs from ancient Egyptian religion, in which the worship of Isis arose, and may have incorporated aspects of Egyptian ritual. Although Isis was worshipped across the Greco-Roman world, the mystery rites are only known to have been practiced in a few regions. In areas where they were practiced, they served to strengthen devotees' commitment to the Isis cult, although they were not required to worship her exclusively, and devotees may have risen in the cult's hierarchy by undergoing initiation. The rites may also have been thought to guarantee that the initiate's soul, with the goddess's help, would continue after death into a blissful afterlife. Many texts from the Roman Empire refer to the Isis mysteries, but the only source to describe them is a work of fiction, the novel The Golden Ass, written in the 2nd century CE by Apuleius. In it, the initiate undergoes elaborate ritual purification before descending into the innermost part of Isis's temple, where he experiences a symbolic death and rebirth and has an intense religious experience, seeing the gods in person. Some aspects of the mysteries of Isis and of other mystery cults, particularly their connection with the afterlife, resemble important elements of Christianity. The question of whether they influenced Christianity is controversial and the evidence is unclear. Some scholars today attribute the similarities to a shared cultural background rather than direct influence. In contrast, Apuleius's account has had direct effects in modern times. Through his description, the mysteries of Isis have influenced many works of fiction and modern fraternal organizations, as well as a widespread belief that the ancient Egyptians themselves had an elaborate system of mystery initiations. Origins edit. Greek and Egyptian precedents edit. Greco-Roman mysteries were voluntary, secret initiation rituals. They were dedicated to a particular deity or group of deities, and used a variety of intense experiences, such as nocturnal darkness interrupted by bright light, or loud music or noise, that induced a state of disorientation and an intense religious experience. Some of them involved cryptic symbols. Initiates were not supposed to discuss the details of what they experienced, and modern understanding of these rites is limited by the secrecy. The most prestigious mysteries in the Greek world were the Eleusinian initiations dedicated to the goddess Demeter, which were performed at Eleusis near Athens, from at least the 6th century BCE to the end of the 4th century CE. They centered on Demeter's search for her daughter Persephone. Eleusinian initiates passed into a dark hall, the Teleasterion, and were subjected to terrifying sights before entering a room brightly lit by fire. There the Hierophant who presided over the ceremony shouted a cryptic announcement that may have alluded and displayed objects that represented Demeter's power over fertility, such as a sheaf of wheat. In the mysteries of the god Dionysus, which were performed in many places across the Greek world, participants drank and danced in frenzied nocturnal celebrations. Dionysian celebrations were connected in some way with Orphism, a group of mystical beliefs about the nature of the afterlife. Isis was originally a goddess in ancient Egyptian religion, which did not include Greek-style mysteries, although it did contain elements that resembled those in later Greek mysteries. Pharaohs underwent a consecration, related to their coronation rites, in which they were said to have close contact with the gods. Priests may have also undergone a consecration ceremony of some kind, connected with the specialized religious knowledge or training required for their positions. Ancient Egyptian funerary texts contained knowledge about the Duat, or underworld, that was characterized as profoundly secret and was believed to allow deceased souls to reach a pleasant afterlife. Some Egyptologists, such as Jan Assmann, have suggested some funerary texts were also used in priestly consecration rituals. Assmann argues that initiation into the temples and cults of Egypt anticipated and prefigured the ultimate initiation into the mysteries of the realm of the dead. Other Egyptologists contest the idea that funerary texts were ever used in rituals by the living. An element of Greek mysteries that did not exist in Egypt was the opportunity for ordinary individuals to undergo initiation. The most sacred rituals in Egyptian temples were performed by high-ranking priests out of public view, and festivals formed the main opportunity for commoners to participate in formal ceremonies. Some of these festivals reenacted events from Egyptian mythology, notably the Koyuk festival in honor of Osiris, the god of the afterlife and the mythological husband of Isis, in which Osiris's mythological death, dismemberment, and restoration to life were played out in public view. Greek writers called these Egyptian rites mysteries. Herodotus, a Greek historian writing in the 5th century BCE, was the first to do so. He used the term for the Koyuk festival, likening it to the mysteries of Dionysus with which he was familiar, because both took place at night and involved a myth in which the god in question was dismembered. He further said that the Greek worship of Dionysus was influenced by the worship of Osiris in Egypt. Greek writers who came after Herodotus viewed Egypt and its priests as the source of all mystical wisdom. They claimed that many elements of Greek philosophy and culture, including their own mystery rites, came from Egypt. The classicist Walter Burkert and the Egyptologist Francesco Tiradriti both argue that there is a grain of truth in these claims, as the oldest Greek mysteries developed in the 7th and 6th centuries BCE, at the same time that Greece was developing closer contacts with Egyptian culture. The imagery of the afterlife found in those mysteries may thus have been influenced by that in Egyptian afterlife beliefs. Spread of the Isis cult. Edit. Isis was one of many non-Greek deities whose cults diffused beyond their homelands and became part of Greek and Roman religion during the Hellenistic period, 323 to 30 BCE, when Greek people and culture spread to lands across the Mediterranean, and most of those same lands were conquered by the Roman Republic. Under the influence of Greco-Roman tradition, some of these cults, including that of Isis, developed their own mystery rites. Much of Isis's cult involved activities that were far more public than the mystery rites, such as the adoration of cult statues within her temples, or outdoor festivals such as the Navagium Isides, yet scholars often regard the mysteries as one of the most characteristic features of her cult. The Isis cult developed its mysteries in response to the widespread belief that the Greek mystery cults had originated with Isis and Osiris in Egypt. As the classicist Miguel John Verlsuis puts it, for the Greeks, the image of Egypt as old and religious was so strong that they could not but imagine Isis as a mystery goddess. Isis's devotees may have adapted aspects of Egyptian ritual to fit the model of the Eleusinian mysteries, perhaps incorporating Dionysian elements as well. The end product would have seemed to the Greeks like an authentic Egyptian precursor to Greek mysteries. Many Greco-Roman sources claim that Isis herself devised these rites. Scholars disagree on whether the mysteries developed before the time of the Roman Empire, as the evidence about them from the Hellenistic period is ambiguous. Yet they could have emerged as far back as the early 3rd century BCE, after the Greek Ptolemaic dynasty had taken control of Egypt. The Ptolemies promoted the cult of the god Serapis, who incorporated traits of Osiris and of Greek deities like Dionysus and the underworld god Pluto. Isis's cult was conjoined with that of Serapis. She too was reinterpreted to resemble Greek goddesses, particularly Demeter, while retaining many of her Egyptian characteristics. Making offering to Isis. Many blessings of whatever winter holy days you celebrate, and Merry Christmas to those who are celebrating today. On this day of gift giving, I shall be making offering to Isis and Nephthys. It will not be as grand as the offering ritual I imagine below, but it will be what is in my heart. Birth of Isis. Feast of revealing the face of this goddess with her Ennead. Performing all the rites of the feast of robing according to the ritual of the place of the first feast. They make a great oblation of bread, beer, oxen, fowl, wine, milk, pomegranate wine, gazelles, oryx, ibexes, cranes, pigeons, fattened ducks, with fresh vegetables and all fruit. It is sweet to serve the beautiful one with right offerings. The Dendera festival calendar. Each night, while I sleep, the light is withdrawn and a darkened world returns to primordial chaos. This disorder is Isfit, the opposite of Ma'it rightness, truth. Like dark water, Isfit is of infinite, even frightening, possibility. Will it seep up moist like ground water, like dreams, to nourish growth and change? Or will it burst forth, unchecked, unsettling, and destructive? Anything might happen. Anything darkness. The formlessness of the unillumined world is why, each morning, I welcome with full heart the awakening of the Golden One. As she scatters her gold dust across the world bringing light, creating form, I release my breath to her in relieved sighs. I am her servant. I serve the great goddess Isis. Ise is how we whisper her holy name. I am called the first of those who see her, for it is my privilege and duty to open her shrine, unveil her face, and make offering to her each morning. I know better than most how sweet it is to serve the beautiful one with right offerings. I honor thee, Isis. While Isfit is still trembling at the edges of the world, I rise and make my purifications. My body, which will perform the ritual, is made pure with water. My mouth, which will speak the words of power, is made pure with natron. It is salty and, if I have much to purify, it sometimes makes me gag. When I am cleansed, I put on the white linen and white sandals and walk through the night-cooled corridors of the temple toward her closed shrine. The cooks, the bakers, the butchers have already been at work. They have prepared her morning feast. The pure ones, the Wab priests and priestesses, have placed it in the hall of offerings, and even now they chant for her. The sistra of the priestesses rattle softly as I pass through the hall of offerings to finally stand before the closed doors of her shrine. Into the darkness before that sacred place, I speak the words that avert evil so that I may approach giving no offense and receiving no harm. I break the clay seal. I draw back the bolt, but I do not yet open the doors. For first I must offer incense to her, the fierce and fiery serpent goddess who guards the Great One, and indeed who is another of Isis Keeperu, her forms. When that fierce one has taken her pleasure and been pacified by the incense and the words of my mouth, I open the doors. Heaven and earth open before me. my living Isis image in her temple shrine with flower offering. On my knees, I enter her shrine, offering incense. The sweet smoke rises into the still air to encircle the Izet Wurit, the great seat or throne of the goddess, her innermost holy place. My heart remembers one of the mysteries of my temple, that Isis is she who is upon her throne, and who is also the throne itself, for that is the very meaning of her name. Isis is all things. It is a great secret that I trade myself before the goddess throne. The wise to serve, a vision of eyes look upon her beautiful face. Offering table piled high. The goddess is at home in her. Vibrate within the shrine. God speaks to mine. In a wing. In her the food offerings with water and with incense. I name what we have prepared for her. She smiles at me with golden lips. I am now privileged to touch her image. I take her sacred body from the great throne into the shrine chamber. I wipe away yesterday's unguent, she having received its ka. With the little finger of my right hand, with my gentle finger, I anoint the urias upon her brow anew with eye of Horus oil. It makes her limbs whole. It destroys evil like the strong talons of her falcon child. I remove the linen cloths placed upon her image the day before.
Now, if anybody knows about Egyptian-tology, the Ba and the Ka is like the yin and the yang. So when he's talking about the Ka, it's the cleansing. Like, hold on, let me. You know who would really be good to explain this? It'd be Cosmo. This is Cosmo's territory. The Ka. So the definition of the Ka. The definition of the Ka was a enhance and distinguish the living from the dead. It was believed to be a separate entity from the body that can survive death and reside in a statue or a picture of a person. So Ka statues were created to provide a resting place for the Ka after death. I think I did already explain that. And the Ba, because there's Ka and Ba. Yeah, I can find it. So the Ba represents the soul, meaning the soul. I hope I explained it properly. I hope I've explained it properly. But the best person to explain it is Cosmo, because this is Cosmo's territory.
They will be taken away and washed. With her unclothed image before me, I adore her 4 times. I feel tender toward the goddess whose body I touch. I speak only truth before her. My adorations are never rote. I speak hard words to my goddess. As I reclothe her in fresh linens, the white, the green, and the red I purify with natron between each dressing. I purify again with water and incense. I circle her image 4 times before returning it to its seat. Once more upon her great throne, Isis receives her ornaments and implements of power. I place them upon her body. I offer her precious unguents, full of power. I take up pure sand and with ancient and holy words, I pour it out before her. It grits beneath my white sandals as I enfold her image first in the white head cloth, then in the great cloth. Now she is veiled once more in the protection of the weaving goddesses who spin magic into linen.
So this is from a book. Okay. Being that Isis is a deity of magic, a deity of paganism as well. Let me see, there's something else I need to say. She also has a symbol. She wears a symbol of a sun disk on her head. I think they explained that part already. Okay, so I'm not going to linger on Isis. I'm going to go to the next one. Let me try to take off all these things off my screen because I'm going to get all mixed up and then I'm going to be showing you stuff that doesn't make sense. So we're going to take this stuff off. I don't know whether I've put enough information on this video showing what Malia or who Malia was supposedly representing. Now, she was also called the Mother Goddess. Now, we will get to the Mother Goddess last because I really want to get to Lucia because I feel that Lucia, trying to find where I put her. Lucia is quite an interesting one because there is many. There's either a nun that called after her for some reason, and she is seen as a saint as well. Literally, she's seen as a saint and a martyr to some. So Saint Lucia. Right, once again, I don't know where to start because like I can go all different ways with this one. Right, so historically, we're going to go down the history slope. So if you're not into history, but yes, but like you can listen and you can participate. However, it's all good stuff. I want to go to, there's one that I did see. I wanted to go to the beginnings. Or if not, I'll take it from this one.
Santa Lucia, light in the darkness. December 13th marks the feast of Santa Lucia or Lucy. She is regarded as a virgin martyr who was put to death during the Diocletian persecution, 304 AD. Like all martyrdoms, her story was written down to encourage the faithful to persist in the midst of trials. Often these accounts are unreliable, even though they are intended for good. Lucy is identified as a Sicilian, born of noble and wealthy parents in the city of Syracuse. Her father is said to have died in her infancy. Yet, her mother saw to it that Lucy was raised in the true faith under difficult circumstances. At a young age, she made a secret vow of virginity to God. When her mother decided that her daughter should be wed to a young man who was an unbeliever, Lucy pleaded with her mother to let her keep the vow she had made to God. She convinced her mother to travel to Catania to seek God's counsel in prayer at the tomb of Saint Agatha. Agatha was a well-known Sicilian martyr 251 AD who had been whipped, burned, and mutilated before being rolled naked in hot coals and broken glass.
Oh, wow.
While there they prayed for the healing of her mother's hemorrhage. When she was healed, her mother agreed that Lucy should remain unmarried. The young man became angry and accused her of being a Christian before the governor. The judge sentenced her to a brothel to serve as a prostitute, but God prevented the guards from moving her and taking her to the brothel. In his anger, the judge ordered that her eyes were to be plucked out. When an attempt to burn her failed, a sword was thrust through her throat. Saint Lucy became associated with festivals of light in the Scandinavian countries. Her blindness plunged her into darkness, but led her to rely all the more on the one who is the light of the world. Is there any encouragement in such a story today? As I said, the story has no solid historical evidence, but there is a very important set of underlying matters that should always provide hope. First, the plucking out of her eyes is surely connected to the story of Samson. Only when his eyes are removed and he is cast into prison does he see that which is true. Or perhaps, you would prefer to think of the blind men outside Jericho whose sight is restored just before Jesus' death and resurrection, for our bodies of death see Christ even when our eyes are removed. Second, the recurring theme of fire being unable to burn the faithful is surely intended to remind all the hearers of the Easter Vigil account of the 3 men in the fiery furnace who are joined by a fourth who looks like the Son of Man. The fires could not harm them, even as the fires of hell shall not harm those who live in their baptisms, hear the preaching of Christ crucified, and eat and drink at the feast of the Lamb. Third, the theme of virginity reminds all of us that we are given one bridegroom, our Lord Jesus Christ. We are called to be faithful to the one who made us his bride when he poured out blood and water from his side at the cross. Surely, he will not leave his bride, but will deliver the wise virgins to the eternal wedding feast. Fourth, even the healing of the hemorrhage of Lucy's mother should lead us to recall the woman who came to Jesus having suffered from a flow of blood for 12 years. She had spent all her money on doctors but had found no healing. Yet, when she touched Christ's garment, power came out.
Okay, it's all like biblical texts and stuff, and we ain't going down that road. We just wants to know who Lucia is. We don't want to know about all the other stuff and why she was a martyr.
From him and healed her. So, Lucia. October 12, 2021 by Linda at Handcrafted History. 1 comment. In Swedish tradition, Lucia comes at the winter's darkest night, bringing light and hope. But the night is not only hopeful and joyous but also dangerous. It is best to stay awake, keeping watch over the darkness and your loved ones. Lucia is the bringer of light, but also a fierce and strong soul, being murdered for her faith and her belief. She is sometimes depicted with a sword or a dagger as well as a light, symbols of her martyrdom. Her role as a light bringer, today often overshines her darker side, that of a dark magical being bringing trouble during the night in Swedish folklore. In Swedish folklore, the night before Lucia was dark and full of magic. The animals might talk to you and many people stayed up all night, a tradition that still remains today. The celebration of Lucia as a turn of the year, midwinter, toward lighter times is older than Christianity, and Lucia exists somewhere between an ancient goddess of light, a saint, and a white-clad girl coming with lights and cakes in the morning. With the modern calendar, Lucia is no longer at the midwinter night but is celebrated December 13th. The history of Saint Lucia, or Lucy, comes from Syracuse, around the 3 to 4 century CE. Lucia is the patron saint of the blind, as well as a number of professions, and the patroness of Syracuse in Italy. If you want to learn more about the Christian martyrdom, http URL is a good start. This is my Lucia, a being existing somewhere between a magical place and the everyday life of people. She comes dressed in clothes from 1,000 years ago, with both candles and a sword. She is a strong soul, bringing both light and darkness at the same time. I have always loved the traditional Lucia celebrations with song and cake in the early morning, coming together to enjoy the light and music as well as longing for brighter days. To me, Lucia is both the light bringer and the dark magical being. A reminder to both enjoy the light and the darkness of the year.
Okay, and also what I spotted something. She's also celebrated in the Caribbean as well. She's celebrated in some parts of the Caribbean. So it's a Swedish martyr. She's celebrated in different parts. Let's see if I can get this one.
Who is Saint Lucia? As we near December 13th, the traditional date of honoring Saint Lucia, we look deep into the past to find the origin of the celebration. Common questions such as who was Saint Lucia? Was she Italian or Swedish? What's with the burning candles on her head, and how do you pronounce Lucia, often surface when we take a closer look. So, let's begin with the last one first so the mystery of her name is cleared up right from the start. There are many ways to say Saint Lucia. In the Caribbean, you'd say Lucia. If you're Spanish or Italian, you'd say Santa Lucia, Lucia. And if you're from Scandinavian countries such as Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark, you'd say Sancta Lucia, Lucia. In America, many people just say Saint Lucy, Lucy. No matter how you say her name, the word origin is still the same. The name Lucia comes from the Latin word lux, which means light, and it's no secret that the festival of Saint Lucia falls at the time of year when the days are shortest and darkness surrounds. Many cultures have celebrations around the winter solstice and the bringing of the light, especially the Nordic countries where the sun barely rises in winter. As bright as the idea of Saint Lucia may be, her true biography is a bit sensational, not to mention a little gory, within the story of darkness turning to light. Though few facts are known about Saint Lucia's life and death, several stories have evolved over the centuries. As the legend goes, Lucy was born to very wealthy, aristocratic parents about AD 283 in Syracuse, Sicily. Her Roman father died when she was 5 years old, leaving her and her mother without someone to protect them. From an early age, Lucia vowed to live her life according to Christian teachings and devote her time and resources to the poor and homeless. Under cover of darkness, she brought food and aid to Christians in hiding, using a candle-lit wreath on her head to light her way and leave her hands free to carry as much food as possible. Because of these actions, her Greek mother, Eutychia, feared for Lucia's life in the time of Christian persecution. Wanting to secure her daughter's future quickly, she arranged a marriage to a young man from a pagan family.
Yeah, we did this part.
Lucy refused to marry the non-believer, wanting to remain celibate and to give her dowry to the poor. The suitor became angry and reported her to Roman authorities, where judges sentenced her to life as a prostitute to shame her. The legends further say that when the guards came to...
Yeah, we did that part already. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing this one, and I'm literally going to go and see if I can find... Oh, I did find it. Or I had it. Keep doing this. Oh, it's not a video. We don't want the thing. We want to see the actual celebration. Will be nice. Let's see if I can find the actual celebration. Oh, they say they do it over here too. Okay, let's sort this out. I don't want to be, hold on. See this one? Oh, I forgot where I'm at. Where am I? Oh, there we are. There. So we are here. Okay. Let's get this sorted, get this down now. Let me see if I could get the sound. And let's do it. Can we go?
School. La vita Santa Lucia Juan Sol Christina Santa
Okay, so that as you can see, that lady celebrating Santa Lucia celebration, and I wish I understood. I mean, I'm glad they did the translations as well. So, like you see it in the real, you know what I'm saying? You see how it looks. Trying to see, there is right. So not only is she called Santa Lucia, she's also called Saint Lucy. Okay, we talk about her eyes as well, and the sword in her throat. That's brought up a lot. And there's a Christian side to it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna show the different depictions of her, I think. Where she's got eyes and extra eyes. I'm gonna show the different depictions of her. There are different depictions of her. Let me take it to the other place actually, so you can see how she's seen. It's a bit difficult to move this screen around. It's very annoying. So I'll just do this and take it back. You see the different depictions of her. So if you do see these depictions, you know exactly who it is. And that's why they say you mustn't call yourself names until you know the origins of the thing, or what the person, the deity, what it is. So there's different depictions. So this one is more seen, I think, and then there's this one. This is because there's Christian, you know, Christians put things in different ways, different representations of the martyr. So let me stop. I just seen something because it's nice to dig deep into certain stuff. McDonald's. Not taking. Oh, it doesn't want you to see it. And also, what they're doing now, when you want to see real serious stuff, they tend to block you. Right, hold on, I'm coming. Just trying to find. Let me see if I can. Okay, so they have a whole psychic prayer to her as well. I'm trying to see that they have not added back that we've already heard. See, so she's definitely looked at as a martyr, as martyrdom. If you don't know what martyrdom is, hold on, I'll go and find it. So you can know what a martyr is. Let me see if they're going to explain it. They're not going to explain it separately? No? There's loads of martyrs. There's loads of them. So even Martin Luther King is seen as a martyr. So how St. Lucy became martyred. So because of how she was unalived as well, according to tradition, St. Lucy, her consummated her virginity, which they talked about, to God, because she gave herself in religion, arguing a suitor, which is what they said. She was reported to the Roman authorities, eventually sentenced her to death by fire. Yeah, that's how she became. That's basically a martyr. When they are unalived for standing on their rights, standing for who they are, not changing. Another martyr also come to mind is Joan of Arc. She was martyred as well. Joan of Arc. If you know about Joan of Arc, if you know about certain history, you know about Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc is one of the ones that they always depict during certain times of the year where they show it on TV, and they will depict Joan of Arc. So I don't know. Oh yeah, there was something else I was going to show you. What was it? Who was it? See, I'll lose my page. Oh, okay, it's not there. Where is it? I just had the page. I just heard a lady singing. Oh yeah, this is it. Okay. So they have her. They have her somewhere. They have her in a. Where do they have her body? In Saint Agatha. She's in Saint Agatha. So this is her sanctuary. Her sanctuary. See, they have her laying there, all clothes. Wish I can go in closer. Oh yeah, we can go closer. That's kind of like the Lords.
Martyrdom.
Oops. It's kind of like in Lourdes, where you go to see. Where in Lourdes, there's this grotto where they have said where they saw Mary. I can't remember if it's Mary or one of them, and they have. I can't find the page now. I lost the page. Oh, here it is. Right, they, and it's a grotto, and loads of pilgrims go there to do washes and stuff like that, and they get healed. And this is what this reminds me of, because I've been to Lourdes. Reminds me of that in a kind of way. Just as only difference is that is in a church.
Martyrdom.
Oh, okay, it's not reading the page. Are you not reading the page?
Martyrdom. Martyrdom. Martyrdom.
I just want to say martyrdom. Okay, you just want to say martyrdom?
Martyrdom.
Okay, you just want to say martyrdom. You don't want to change. All right. So they're talking about her noble family, from which they already said. I'll talk about her. We're going to talk about the century. Where's she at? So in the sanctuary of Lucia, close to Lucy's chapel, you can see a version. Oh, so this is a version of her that's inside of that place. So that's a version of her. So it's not her, but it's a version of her. That's what I wanted to find out, really, because we already know her story. Okay, so the next one that they also call her is the Mother Goddess. They're also called Malia. Is the Mother Goddess. Oh, let me take off all these tabs. Too many tabs my way, and then I get mixed up. No, the Mother Goddess is depicted in so many different ways. I would think that she is also called Gaia. I'd think. I'm not. I will say. Trying to find the right picture to put up. Yeah, she's Gaia. Okay, let me put up my lady. Won't fit. She won't fit. Well, she has earth in her hand. This is why she's called Gaia. Let me see if I can't get this one to fit. I'll have to do it another way. Okay, I'm going to do it another way. She can fit. She refuses to fit. Well, like I said, Mother Goddess is depicted in all different ways, all different manners, in all different countries across the world. There's no one depiction of Mother Goddess. So before you guys listen to Malia and them lot, go research, do what you got to do to find out exactly who is what and what is what. Don't just take on these names. So what we're going to do, right, we're going to look into the Mother Goddess. And she goes across the world, Egypt, Christianity, everywhere. The Mother Goddess is very much one of those symbols of a lot of places. Let me see if I can find a straightforward explanation. So, because they're going to go back into pre-Christian and everything else, because it goes right around the globe, more or less. Okay, I think I'm going to use this one. Yep, I'm going to use this one.
Mother Goddesses. Juno and Carthage, c. 1636-1655. Artist, Eustache Le Sueur. When Margaret Murray wrote her groundbreaking God of the Witches in 1931, scholars quickly dismissed her theory of a universal, pre-Christian cult of witches who worshipped a singular mother goddess. However, she wasn't completely off base. Many early societies had a mother-like god form, and honored the sacred feminine with their ritual, art, and legends. Take, for instance, the ancient carvings of rounded, curved, feminine forms found in Willendorf. These icons are the symbol of something once revered. Pre-Christian cultures in Europe, like the Norse and Roman societies, honored the deities of women, with their shrines and temples built to honor such goddesses as Bonadia, Cybele, Frigga, and Helle. Ultimately, that reverence for the archetype of mother has been carried over in modern pagan religions. Some might argue that the Christian figure of Mary is a mother goddess as well, although many groups might disagree with that concept as being too pagan. Regardless, those goddesses of motherhood from ancient societies were a widely varied bunch. Some loved unwisely, some fought battles to protect their young, others fought with their offspring. Here are some of the many mother goddesses found throughout the ages. 1. Asesayat, Ashanti. This earth mother goddess prepares to bring forth new life in the spring, and the Ashanti people honor her at the festival of Durbar, alongside Niam, the sky god who brings rain to the fields. 2. Bast, Egyptian. Bast was an Egyptian cat goddess who protected mothers and their newborn children. A woman suffering from infertility might make an offering to Bast in hopes that this would help her conceive. In later years, Bast became strongly connected with Mut, a mother goddess figure. 3. Bonadia, Roman. This fertility goddess was worshipped in a secret temple on the Aventine Hill in Rome, and only women were permitted to attend her rites. A woman hoping to conceive might make a sacrifice to Bonadia in hopes that she would become pregnant. 4. Bryad, Celtic. This Celtic hearth goddess was originally a patron of poets and bards, but was also known to watch over women in childbirth, and thus evolved into a goddess of hearth and home. Today, She is honored at the February celebration of Imbolc. 5. 6. Cybe, Roman. This mother goddess of Rome was at the center of a rather bloody Phrygian cult, in which eunuch priests performed mysterious rites in her honor. Her lover was Attis, and her jealousy caused him to castrate and kill himself. 7. Demeter, Greek. Demeter is one of the best-known goddesses of the harvest. When her daughter Persephone was kidnapped and seduced by Hades, Demeter went straight to the bowels of the underworld to rescue her lost child. Their legend has persisted for millennia as a way of explaining the changing of the seasons and the death of the earth each fall. 8. Freya, Norse Freyja, or Freya, was a Norse goddess of abundance, fertility, and war. She is still honored today by some pagans, and is often associated with sexual freedom. Freyja could be called upon for assistance in childbirth and conception, to aid with marital problems, or to bestow fruitfulness upon the land and sea. 9. Frigga, Norse. Frigga was the wife of the all-powerful Odin, and was considered a goddess of fertility and marriage within the Norse pantheon. Like many mothers, she is a peacemaker and mediator in times of strife. 10. 11. Gaia, Greek. Gaia was known as the life force from which all other beings sprang, including the earth, the sea, and the mountains. A prominent figure in Greek mythology, Gaia is also honored by many Wiccans and pagans today as the Earth Mother herself. 12. Isis, Egyptian. In addition to being the fertile wife of Osiris, Isis is honored for her role as the mother of Horus, one of Egypt's most powerful gods. She was also the divine mother of every pharaoh of Egypt, and ultimately of Egypt itself. She assimilated with Hathor, another goddess of fertility, and is often depicted nursing her son Horus. There is a wide belief that this image served as inspiration for the classic Christian portrait of the Madonna and Child. 13. Juno, Roman. In ancient Rome, Juno was the goddess who watched over women and marriage. As a goddess of domesticity, she was honored in her role as protector of the home and family. 14. Mary, Christian. There is a lot of debate about whether or not Mary, the mother of Jesus, should be considered a goddess or not. However, she is included on this list because there are some people who see her as a divine figure. For further information on this topic, you may wish to read Woman Thou Art God. 15. 16. Yemaya, West African/Yoruban. This Orisha is a goddess of the ocean, and considered the mother of all. She is the mother of many of the other Orishas, and is honored in connection with the Virgin Mary in some forms of Santeria and Vodun.
So these are all mother goddesses. All what was listed just then are all mother goddesses, all in different places, in different countries, in different, if you've ever watched one of the depictions, some not very good depictions of certain stuff, you see the goddesses in wake. They're doing, like, one being the Titans, the mighty Titans. You will see the goddesses represented in the mighty Titans. When Hercules had to go and get the ram skin, and you'll see them appearing to him, helping him. The Phrates, I think you see the Phrates, or Pharaoh. You do see her. So I'm also going to do this other one as well, because I feel this one's important as well. Because, like I said, if these young ladies truly know these stories of these great goddesses, when you call yourself a name, like how I call myself Ocean, it's only because I know who she is. I know exactly. I know who she is because I've studied her. So I studied and I've been around certain places. So obviously, after a while, right, you get to know who the deity is. You don't just take on the name because, even though there is rights for me to get to be linked to her, which I started to do. So I know. You cannot just be given names. These names has to be given to you, and you have to have those attributes that shows that you are that, right? So my friend is very much a Gaia. She likes gardening and she's very motherly and stuff like that. I do know someone who's actually like that, who actually I can say, yeah, she is definitely that. So um so when people when it's like you are taking on something. Like back in the day, I would say, right, I'm gonna stop this so I could talk. Back in the day when I was coming up in the contest community, there's loads of books and stuff that you can read, and then you start involving yourself in certain groups, right? So I used to be around the Emerald Greens and stuff like that, who is Queen Afua's, like they're kind of like healers. So they're called Emerald Greens. And they will formulate women's circles, men's circles, a way of healing so that you can find yourself, because it just takes one thing for you to find yourself, then it leads into something else, then it leads into something else, then it leads into something else. These women has not been doing it. They've been doing shortcuts all through it. That's why I chose to do this live. So you can see that she is not an Isis. She's not a Saint Lucia. She's not a Lucia. She's not a Saint Lucia. She's not a mother goddess, because she's given up her right as a mother as well. So you're not nurturing, you're not doing all that. You're not doing the necessities. Not only that, right, you have to go into certain circles where you can learn of these arts and mysteries. Some people go to the mystery schools of certain stuff and they learn, i.e. in the West Indies, we call it the science, right? Some people are naturally ordained or come into the world already with this information on them. So Saint Lucia now, she already devoted herself already. She's already, said, okay, I'm doing this. And because she chose to do this, right, they unalived her because of that. So, and this is always the case with them. I'll need to find, well, another one that I need to find was a time when they was doing the Buddhist thing. And I have to do a breakdown of that. Because when you're doing certain things, you have to be mindful that you're, like people say, you're opening portals, you're calling them to come down to earth. In ether, when they talk in the language, if you've been around certain places where they pull up libations and all this stuff, right? They call them down. It's the same thing with the Christians when they pray to God, where they go into spirits, where they go into trances, where they go into certain stuff. That's probably why I think Trinidad has adopted itself in certain ways and certain things. So if you come from them schools there and you understand, right, you know to yourself, okay, there's certain things I am not going to delve with because, no. Right. And then you in turn have to research and find out what different things are. I was into Queen Afua so hard. I think I read her book like a couple times. I read her book. That's why I always talk about Queen Afua, especially the first book, because she deals with Egyptian gods and goddesses, and each Egyptian god and goddesses has their own attributes, which they incur healing. Not only that, right, you're doing rituals to them. You're not exactly invocating them because you don't know the words to invocate, but like you can. It's like you're saying an affirmation to open doors for certain stuff. That's all that is. You are also living the lifestyle. You are looking the lifestyle. If you have been around certain places and certain people, you see it on them. I've seen people who worship Sekhmet, and when you see them, right, you can see they are of that. This. Every time that postman knocks, it's like he's knocking. When he knocked the door, he knocking until he knocked down the blinking door. And I hate interruptions because what it does, it leaves a whole big gap in the middle of something that shouldn't be a gap. Anyways, so what I'm saying is these women has not gone through the rites of passage. Every woman, or every woman and man, I should say, because men go through rites of passage and they learn the mysteries. They are priests and priestesses, and they have their novices, and it is by protocol pecking order. You become a worshipper in certain places. You come the devotee. You cannot automatically like have someone sitting there, as you can see from the headdress. I've got to find it on my community tab. Because she's doing Native American. Oh, my ears fumbling. I've got to find this picture. Right. She's doing Native American. So, once again, the indigenous world is already looking at you, side-eyeing you already. Because even they have problems. Whoops. Excuse me just then. Because even they... There's just one picture. Or two. Even they have protocols too when they're doing certain stuff. So by you doing that and saying that how the women is worshipping you, I really wish Medea left it up, because there's something to see. It's something to see, right? It's all done by protocols. There are schools of mysteries that people go through. They don't just pop up and decide to be whatever. Some people really reluctantly become things because it's in their bloodline and they fight against it so long that how in the end, right, they have to give in. And there's you now come depicting you are whatever, sitting down. Really, she's sitting like this is Native American way of sitting down. It's only that the headdress is of feathers, but people can buy those stuff off of Amazon. The indigenous community on YouTube call it the 5. No, it's playing up. The $5 Indian. So not only the name that they gave her does not represent her. She has not given up nothing. She has not stood up for nothing. She has not stand for nothing. She has not played her role. My mother nurturer. She kind of nurtured Ellie for a little while, but that's out of jealousy for the mother. So therefore, you have no space to stand and be calling yourself Mother Goddess, Malia, what's her name? Lucia, Isis, because you are none of that. The goddesses are very much revered, and they are definitely not to be played with. And the more you play with them, I would love to see what's going to happen, because they always come back for pay. They always come back for pay. But not only that, the girls was doing a bit of hoodoo on screen as well, right? They was doing a little bit of hoodoo and all this stuff, raising their hands up in worship, her, worshipping her. But like I said, deities are jealous. They're very jealous. Let me get the two screens so we can get closer, so you can see it closer. Deities are jealous. Deities are jealous. You don't play with deities. It doesn't matter what you're dealing with, the one from the crossroads. Well, that's why in the countries where they are revered, particularly, they take it very seriously. Baba Luaye is taken very seriously, right? Baba Luaye is a deity for sickness. I think he does a sickness and other stuff. Can't remember exactly all the stuff. I used to remember all the stuff, right? So in Cuba, I think in Cuba, they dress as Baba Luaye, and they have the thing on the chain with the money, and they don't walk to, because because it's teamed up with Catholic. They don't walk to it. They crawl on their hands and knees to the Catholic Church as well, because most of these deities was hidden underneath Catholics' icons, right? So when you are dealing with certain ones, you have to know, you have to put your whole heart and love and life and everything into it. It's not a half, it's not doing it halfway. You can't just do it halfway and run. That's why when people throw away their stuff, when they come into certain knowings, I call them knowings, certain wisdom, certain knowledges, certain whatevers, right? It literally comes back, and it hurts their life in so many ways, right? Though there is other ways that people put stuff on people and all these extras and whatever else. It's a lot more deeper than that, right? Deities are not to be taken lightly at all. Even me putting Ocean on here, but like I said, Ocean chose to be a part of my channel, right? I didn't choose her. She decided to be part of this one, right? And she's been here since then. And then after that, they went to the dark side because I came to realize there is two sides of her, right? She don't play. She don't do the play at all. She nor her sister don't play. Like I said, the water can feed you. It can nourish your body. We are 99% water in our bodies anyway, right? Water can kill you. Water can help you. Water can help the land. Water can do a lot of stuff. One chief always told me you need to go to water. One chief, one priestess always told me you need to go to water. He's always said that. He always talk about the source. He always talk about certain stuff. You cannot just turn up and say, yeah, well, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. Even me, I never thought I'd be tying my hair again. I started tying my hair. It just came like second nature to me. So when I tie my hair, I know why I tie my hair. I completely understand it. It's like I said, it's a 360-degree circle. You go back inner, because you start from doing one thing. They say people be searching and searching and searching, but when they do actually find themselves, they are solid. They can be going through the most craziness. The poorest people in Cuba, they'll be pure, they'll be poor. But I tell you one thing, when it comes down to the deities, they don't play. They don't play. You can't play with them on that. You can't play with them. Even Brazil, you can't play with them. You can't tell them. I can say most of the the diaspora, or however far and wide it's spreaded. Haiti, they don't play. They're the poorest people, so-called poorest people, but they will make sure that they are present for certain stuff. This lady here is not a good what you call it. She does not encapsulate what they are calling her, right? She doesn't encapsulate it. She doesn't encapsulate it. And even yesterday, how Velvet still called how I put up Velvet, even though I just put up the small bit with the crown, right? Right. She does not encapsulate that. Right. When you are able to up and leave your child, and you don't fight for your child, and you don't fight for your children, and you walk away from your children, you are not Isis. Isis and the Mother Goddess. You're none of those. You're none of those. Even in Ghana, I think there is another name as well. Queen Mother. And even that is a big thing to take on, because when you take on a name, you have to know what you're dealing with when you take on that name. Even my biological name means something, right? So every little thing that encapsulates me have a meaning, and every little thing that I've named my children shows the places where I've been. So it's like I'm never away from those places. I'm still in those places because my children are walking, talking that. So it's like, so that's one of the things what the conscious community is good at. They do actually open you up. Like I would always say, they open you up to certain things, even though there is these type of people that's in there. But it's left for you to go and break away, elevate, and become whatever. These women do not want to elevate. So they're not even researching the names that they are linking this lady to. Lucia, you hear how Lucia died, right? So if she's not careful, and I'm not putting mouth on her, no, I'm not. But like I said, you take on a name, you take on an entity, you take on that thing, right? So you heard what Lucia went through, right? So, like, if she continues with these names or titles, whatever, but she has to be very careful. And it might just to be in a case of like her, like, because like you always have to remember where you are and where you come from and where you are heading. You cannot just go willy-nilly here, there, and everywhere. And I'll say that to anybody who's coming into the conscious community. You don't just follow things for the sake of following it. Yes, it's good to follow some things, but you always have to question certain stuff. Keep questioning. I guarantee you'll get your answer. Something will say, you know what, right? You've been in this one too long. Let me move you from this. That's how it is. And if you are not mindful of what you're doing, you can call in things into your life that doesn't need to be there. And I speak as a mother, not only as a mother, and also as one who's been in the conscious community, been in organizations, been around certain books. That's why, even though I was a little bit rogue for a little while, but then sooner or later, if I'm meant to be there, I'll be there. I'll be put in situations where I have to figure out what am I doing there? Why am I here? You know what I'm saying? So that's why it is important. These women need guidance, but they don't get it. They don't get it. You know, she thinks she's being called a queen is something. Most times, right, queens get overthrown by the women who are underneath them, the maids. They overthrow them. So you really have to think about it. You have to think about these things And because they're worshipping her, and even when they was worshipping her, it looked like they didn't know what they're doing. They said that they prayed to her. When they said that they prayed to her, it put me in mind of the Angela cult. I've spoken about the Angela cult. I'm sure others have spoken about the Angela cult that was on TikTok for a little while, where they was worshipping Angela. They worship her, and she also had other things going on, right? So they are not even happy that how Malia is the queen anyway. You know what I mean? Because like I was saying. So I just thought I will bring this live to sort of put to show who these gods goddesses are. These goddesses are very important in lots of places, ancient. Oh yeah, and that's another thing. When she calls herself ancient, there's real channelers. There's real people who challenge stuff. They channel in, and they bring in. They do what they do. Like, you cannot just automatically switch it on and switch it off, switch it on, switch it on. It doesn't go like that. Sometimes like you'll be somewhere and something will come, something happens. Like, people cannot understand about these things, and this is only through bloodlines and stuff like that. That's why there's baruhas, there's priestesses, there's priests, there's higher priestesses. You know what I mean? It goes like that. The novices, there's devotees. That's how it always starts. You always start with being a devotee or something, and then it turns into something else. The next thing, right, you're somewhere else, you're doing something else. That's how it always goes. And you have to humble yourself when you're dealing with these goddesses and goddess. The martyr, she's more a Christian thing, really. She's more Christian. She's like how Mary is, or I forgot, the saints. She's like the saints. If you know, if you are Christian, you know about the saints. Saint Bernadette. I can't remember all the names. I used to know all these names, but yeah. So it's not something that you play with. You don't play with these things. You don't do it as a rule, because you don't know. They will mess up your life. They will mess it up. People don't play with certain gods in Ether because they know what they're like. If you don't deal with the god accordingly, or the deity accordingly, they will mess up your life. They'll make your life hard. They'll make your life so hard. When you turn around now, right, something else is something new's happening. Though people don't believe this in the wider world, but this is how it is. This is how it is for some, because they don't go to the root and find out from, like, okay, what is this, how do I do this, how do I yeah, that's what you do. And you don't go to people on the internet. You have to go to recommended people. Recommendation is a huge thing. If the person haven't got a recommendation, it's the same with Reiki and massage and all that. If they haven't got a good recommendation, they are not recommended, whether it be a numerology, a chart reader, whatever. You do not go to them. You do not go to them. And I keep stressing this, but people don't seem to want to hear. And who don't hear will feel. And you see, when I start talking like this, I don't like to talk like this I don't like to talk like this, period. Because the deities get very much offended. People calling left, right, and center, left, right, and center. No. These are left to the sets, or the set that deals with those things. And if you are part of that, that's fine. And if they give you the utterance to do certain stuff, that's fine. But after that, you don't go ahead and call yourself this, that, and the other, 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 and the other. Some people it's just through bloodline and whatever else. That's all. That's how I look at it. That's my opinion and my thoughts, however you want to take it. There's ones who's gone through these rites of passage. These rites of passage is very important. I don't care who you be. Well, like, even a child can be your like in the ether. They can be the baba. The baba. They're right, there's levels to everything. Levels, you know. And the fact that how right, I didn't even know there was a cult to Isis. I really didn't know about that, right? Because I know about Isis, the goddess. I know, but I didn't know there was a cult to her. Hi, Joranic. I didn't know. I didn't know there was a whole levels. There's levels and levels and levels to certain stuff. Even in the West Indian Spiritual Baptist Church, i.e. Revivalist Church, there is levels. You cannot just go in there and say you're doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and getting on, ringing bell like you're dumb. You can't just walk into a Spiritual Baptist Church and do what you do, because I guarantee you, it will be on. And not in a physical sense. So when people take on these names, you have to be very mindful, because remember, I always said to people, right, it's Ocean who brought the channel to where it is. It's not because of me, it's her. She intervenes in everything. I don't even have to do nothing half the time. I just be me. That's it. I just be me. And I try to let people know who she is, because some people do not know. Always when I step into certain chats, it's like people, I don't know, people go all funny. I don't know what it is, but I don't take that as nothing. I just believe, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be there. Bye, later. Like, you know what I mean? So, you have to know there is levels to this. There's levels, and I wish I could find the video where they were worshipping her. I bet it's there watching me somewhere. I wish I could find it. Because you're just like, what is wrong with these women? I'm gonna see if I can find it again. If I can't find it, I'll leave it alone. Because they did because she wanted to assert herself as a queen. But I think Medea's taking it down. I'm just looking again, see if I see it. I'm just looking through. Yeah, it looks like she took it down, for real, for real. Yeah, I can't see it. But like I said, yeah, there's like, do not listen to these women. Carbonation, imagination, whatever the heck they call. And I think this, it's not going to be my last video I make them. I keep saying, okay, I'm not going to talk about them no more. And then what happens? I come back to them again, because I see something. I'm just like, wow. And the people in the chat was very much like, what is going on? Like, opening portals left, right, and all over the place. Like, what is wrong with you? The world has enough problems without you adding to the problem. Right? Because that's what you're doing. You're adding to the problem. Right now, right, you need to worry about who is the prime minister or president where you at now. Because some of the things what the conspiracy theorists has spoken about has happened. The Georgia Stone, all different things is happening. Right? movies depict certain stuff. They give you pre-warning to what's going on. If people don't get it right now, I don't know when they will get it, right? And I'm not saying everybody's perfect, because I have tried myself to even get a few people so that I can kind of sort out a couple of things myself, but it just comes very hard. And after a while, I just get fed up and I just don't want to deal with it no more. And it's no point. Sometimes I feel that how when you bring certain things to YouTube as well, especially people's not into it, because like you have to break it down for the ones who's not into certain stuff so they can understand certain things, because there is loads of Christians and Muslims and different denominations as well. That's why I said that how right people has to come together to understand, to make it work. It doesn't matter. It's all about humanity at the end of the day. It's humanity. People can go into power. This lady was dealt with very, very rugged, and that's why I've got a picture of her on the community tab, how she looks. That's what I'm hoping. I was hoping for Fundi Feet to break it down too, but it's okay. Right, so with that said, I'm not even gonna stay here long. I'm supposed to come back, but if it reaches past 12 and I'm not back on, because I wanted to highlight something what happened over here. And yeah, I just wanted to highlight something that happened over here. So with that said, I'm gonna leave it right here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Thank you for coming, Sonia, Ebony Locks, and Geranic. So with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.